Well, as Alison shares her story in the new ITV documentary, The Undercover Police Scandal, Love and Lies Exposed, she joins us now in the studio. Alison, thank you for coming in.
Pleasure.
It is a truly gripping and extraordinary documentary. We've watched it, and from start to finish, jaws on the floor, trying to comprehend what it is that you and these other women have been through. Let's just go back, though, to that time when you first met him, you first met Mark, and what was going on in your life and how he came to be a part of it.
I was a school teacher, English and media studies teacher, which is how I came to have that much video footage, had a video camera. I was a member of a campaigning group in Hackney. We were campaigning about anti-racism, anti-fascism, sort of things you're supposed to be against. And one day he turned up at a meeting accompanied by somebody who'd met him at a demonstration, and he said he was interested in what we were doing.
Did you think at any point, Alison, that the things that you were campaigning against were so out there that you needed undercover police, like, were the things that you were doing would be against the law or the sort of thing that would gain that sort of attention from the police?
If you're political and you're involved in political activity, particularly on the left, most people kind of thought there were undercover police at demonstrations,
Right.
maybe even at public meetings, monitoring, keeping an eye. No one expected that they were going to be in your bed and having short-term sexual, intimate relationships. So, no, I don't think anyone thought that.
And this was the thing. I mean, this was a proper, long-term, legitimate relationship. I mean, you fell kind of head over heels for him. He moved into your house. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we were together for 5 years.
Yeah.
He was completely integrated into my life and my family. And what you see, again, from those videos, he was one of the family. It was we were planning to have children, and upsetting and distressing though that story is for me on a personal level, and was certainly when I first found out, I'm not the only one. You know, what we know is that there are more than 60 women to whom this has happened, probably more. And it wasn't, the police tried to tell us at the beginning that this was a rogue officer. And what we can see really clearly now is that this was systemic.
So when did it start to unravel then? When did you start to get suspicious?
Not until after he left. They're professional liars. They're trained, they're funded by taxpayers. We pay for this work. They have proper false passports, false national insurance numbers.
You found a credit card, though, in the coat, didn't you?
Right.
But he somehow managed to just explain that away. What happened?
Yeah, he went out one morning to get breakfast, and I thought there was something he was keeping from me. I didn't think it was this, but I thought that he maybe was involved in a group that I wasn't involved in, and I didn't know. And I looked for it. Doesn't reflect that well, but I looked in his jacket that he left behind, and I found a bank card, and it was in a different name. It was in the name of M. Jenner. And when he came back, I was like, what is this? And he said, I bought it off a bloke in a pub. It was stolen. I'm an idiot. I shouldn't have done it. And I was a teacher. What do I know about buying stolen credit cards off men in pubs? I really know nothing. Yeah. So he said, I'm an idiot. Please never tell anyone. Please, I'm going to cut. I then cut it up. And that was it. And I didn't think about it again until after he left. And when he left, with a note on the table, it was like, that's not how you leave a 5-year relationship, not in my world. No. So I need to make sense of that. And to do that, I need to speak to people who knew him. That took me to looking in my address book for his grandfather's number. That was really hard scribbled out.
Because you were supposed to go and visit his grandfather. That was the one bit of family tie that you were actually supposed to go and see him. And then on the day, he just managed to say, oh, no, he's got the dates wrong. That's not right.
It became apparent that he didn't want to be found. And if someone doesn't want to be found, then that makes me ask questions like, why? What's going on?
So you've done all the detective work. Yeah. You've become the sort of, as part of this group, to try and work out what it is that he was doing. It's about 25 years. Do you know, what more do you know about him now?
I know quite a lot more about him now, but in a way, it's not that I don't want to answer that question, because I think a lot of that is in the documentary that I hope people will watch. But it's not about him. He was part of a machine, if you like. He had managers. There was a back office. There was a manual that told them how to manage this deceit. And so what we found out about the whole unit is that they were hoovering up intelligence on everybody who was involved in a progressive movement. This wasn't about prosecuting people. This wasn't about putting people through the criminal justice system. This was about simply surveying. It's like the Stasi. I mean, it's not, you know, I don't want to be hyperbolic. I don't want to be alarmist.
No.
But it is akin to the Stasi. They have, you know, people will say, like, why you? What were you doing? And actually, it's like, they were doing it to everybody. They were anyone who was, if you're in CND, if you're in the anti-apartheid movement, if you're in the Socialist Workers' Party, which, you know,
aren't
is a left-wing group,
society,
but they're like a placard.
Yeah.
They make placards for demonstrations.
And it basically happened to all these different women. You think there's around 60 women.
Yeah.
And it was all very, very similar, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was always a chap who had a van who could go to the movements. They always left with a letter that's been written. But you were quite lucky in the fact that your life moved on and you moved forward and your circumstances changed. But there are other women that actually never went on to have children and their lives were really turned upside down and ruined.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, you know, there have been women who have had children with undercover police officers, and people are rightly horrified by that. But I think something that we don't look at so much is the women who've had their most fertile years stolen from them and lost the opportunity to have children because of those years, and also because they've had their trust so fundamentally undermined. And what we're seeing is that the unit and the police, it was the Met Police, were institutionally misogynistic and sexist. Women were used either as props to shore up these men's fake identity. I was a trusted individual. People would have assumed that because he was in my life so much, my family life, that I'd probably met his family. They were either used as props or they were specifically targeted because they were, I'm not talking about myself here so much, but they were, you know, very competent, strong activists who were targeted to be derailed and undermined, so their activity was undermined.
We've got some rights of reply which we have to offer. This is from the CPS. We wholly sympathise with the plight of those who unknowingly entered into deceptive relationships. Each case is decided on its own facts, and having carefully reviewed evidence provided by police in relation to allegations against undercover officers, we concluded our legal test for prosecution was not met in this case for any criminal offences. This is the Met Police Deputy Assistant Commissioner, John Saville. I'd like to apologise again unreservedly for the significant harm and distress caused to the women who were deceived into sexual relationships by undercover officers. These relationships were abusive, deceitful, manipulative and wrong. While it should have been obvious to all undercover officers that sexual relationships were unacceptable, the Met failed to make this clear and provide training and guidance. And then the Home Office said evidence heard by the undercover police inquiries highlighted the distressing impact undercover policing has had in the past on victims, which must never be repeated. It's important that the ongoing independent inquiry uncovers the truth. It is vital the accountability and closure victims need is delivered swiftly and fairly. Do you think you're going to get there? It's a lot of words. Do you think you're going to get there?
Well, I think it's very nice that they've apologised. That's lovely. Thank you very much. The CPS say that they wouldn't prosecute because these relationships were based on genuine feelings, number one. We would argue that's not the right question. It's completely irrelevant. And unfortunately, new laws have come in that have sort of reversed, have enshrined in law what we're campaigning against. So the guidelines, the police guidelines have changed to make this now unacceptable, but it's still not illegal. So
it's also cost 64 million so
100.
far. Yeah. But, it's gone up to 100.
Between 88 and 100 million, yeah.
For the investigation.
You can watch the Undercover Police Scandal, Love and Lies Exposed, on Thursday at 9 o'clock on ITV1, ITVX and STV Player. Thank you.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
This is now, and this is you're obsessed with the selfie, but actually this is something that started for you when you were 15 years old and you became very conscious of your body. Why was that?
Basically, when I was 15, my body had always gone up and down weight-wise. I'd always been like not very popular in school, picked on for being chubby and fat. And then when I was 15, I got really sick. I was eating like 4 or 5 meals a day, so I'd have all my lunches at school and then nip out to go and get chips and literally just be eating so much, unable to sit down, just completely on the go and just losing loads of weight. And then just before my GCSEs, I basically got taken ill with suspected meningitis. But it wasn't actually that at all, it was a thyroid disorder. So I had an overactive thyroid, which meant putting me on steroids because my heart rate was so fast. And steroids literally just made me balloon in weight, and I went up to a size 16.
Well, I mean, throughout your life, you had breast implants at 17, and then a second enlargement ruptured, the PIP implant still leaving bits of silicone, I think, in your armpits, too dangerous to take it out. And you went under the knife, and you were thinking on the operating table about your children.
Yeah, when I had my first surgery, I didn't have any children. But when I came to have my second surgery, because they'd encapsulated, I had my daughter, Grace, and I remember going to the operating theatre thinking, God, you know, if I die, I've died in vanity, what will my daughter think?
So you're obviously thinking that
yeah.
When you're on the operating table, having your breast implants sorted out. So obviously it leads us to the question, if you're injecting yourself every day with this human growth hormone, which is incredibly dangerous.
It can be incredibly dangerous.
So aren't you thinking about your children then?
I mean, the media have obviously blown out huge stories yesterday. Mum of 3 injects Class C drugs. I don't smoke. I don't drink.
But you are a mum of 3.
I am a mum of 3, that's correct. I am
injecting
injecting Class C drugs, that's correct. But my lifestyle is incredibly healthy. I eat so clean. I train 2 hours in the gym every single day. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke cigarettes.
So what is it?
So human growth hormone, so we all produce it naturally in the pituitary, which is part of our brain. And some people have deficiencies, which is why scientists have developed ways to produce synthetic human growth hormone to treat people who have deficiencies and therefore have health problems. But people like Jackie have found other uses for it. It's not licensed for those uses. And one of the biggest problems with it is that actually it's being produced usually abroad. We don't know where it's coming from. We don't know what's in there. It could be contaminated. You don't know what strength it's going to be. The vials can vary. So that's one of the biggest dangers, is you actually don't know what
the dangers to your health? She said that, you know, she's very clean living.
Yeah.
And you can worry about cancer and everything.
Yeah.
But what are the specific dangers?
Yeah, and Jackie's aware of some of the dangers. So it's called growth hormone for a reason. That's because it promotes growth of muscle, but also of every organ in the body except the brain. Now, one of the biggest dangers is it can actually promote growth of the heart muscle. And if the walls of the heart muscle become too big, it can cause a condition called cardiomyopathy, and that can actually lead to sudden death. So that's one of the big dangers.
So obviously this is all linked hand in hand, the feeling of body confidence and looking amazing now, and that's led to this extraordinary selfie regime.
Yeah.
Driven, you say, but you still don't feel enormously confident about yourself.
I think this is sort of something that comes across on the show. I think the idea is make me a perfect 10. What's perfection? I don't think I will ever get to the point where I'm completely happy. I guess, you know, people are saying, like, a lot of the media has been around my kids, you know, you've got a daughter. Yeah, I've got a daughter, and at least I can sit down with her and say, you know, if she comes to me, do you want to have a boob job? Yes, Mummy, I do. Well, actually, I don't think you should, because if I could go back, I would go back to 17 years old and I would never, ever, ever have my boobs done again, because I've had nothing but complications.
But don't they fuel each other? This constant selfie taking. I think you've taken 7 selfies already this morning. We've got 3 of them, which we've selected. But doesn't it? Because you earn a living out of this. People send you stuff for in sort of reward for your selfies, and you're doing pretty well with as far as the followers are concerned. You've got 94,000 followers on Instagram, 100,000 on Snapchat, 101,000 on Twitter. So it provides a lifestyle for you, but isn't it all self-perpetuating?
It is. It is a vicious circle. I'm not going to sit here and deny it. It is, you know, it does become a numbers game. You know, I went through all sorts of, like, deep, dark moments in life, and, you know, you do get this following and people do say really nice things to you, and coming from, you know, a background where I've not had the best of everything. I've come from a background of really working class parents. So to be able to provide a lifestyle for my children through this, I'm never going to knock that, and I'm never going to stop it until I have to. So, you know...
But you said to us, you wouldn't give up this lifestyle unless it was a matter of life and death. But it kind of is, isn't it? That is what it is.
It can. I think, I mean, you know, with the growth hormone, there are people that inject up to 10 IUs a day. I inject 1 IU a day, which is such a small amount. I know there's obviously things where I don't necessarily know where it's coming from, what's in it. I'm aware of all that, but there are so many dangers in everyday life. I could walk out of this studio and get knocked down by a bus. That is the risk you take. And
you're leading yourself into the risk doing what you're doing.
So, you know, you go on holiday, you lie in the sun. People lie in the sun with oil on just to get a tan. They're putting themselves at risk. It's because I've come out of the box and I've said, you know what, yeah, I inject a C-class drug.
And lots of people are doing it.
And that's the thing. And if you go to the gyms, that's the thing. But because a lot of people that are watching the show, you know, they're not necessarily in that whole gym zone. In the gym, it is so normal. There's probably hardly any people that aren't doing it. It doesn't make it right. I'm not saying it does, but it's more educating people. I'm not telling everyone, you know, every single mum, go out there, you know, you can get a body like this, having 3 kids by injecting this. I'm not saying that, but all I'm saying is it did help me get to where I've got to, but that doesn't mean I can jab myself and, well, hey, here's my body. I have to go work out ridiculously hard, 2 hours a day.
Well, the rest of the story is Body Freaks Make Me Perfect. It's tonight at 10 on Channel 5 if you want the rest of that story.
Thank you very much.
For more of the same, just click here, and don't forget you can subscribe for even more of these amazing videos exclusive to our channel.
But to go for your 13th, say, you've said to us that you're addicted to having babies.
Yeah, I'm literally addicted to having babies.
Can you not put that energy into looking after the ones that you've got?
And that energy does go into that, but I can't help feeling broody.
Now, guys, from your point of view, how bad was the selfie experience and why was it bad? Just bring us inside your world of school and social media.
I feel like we're really pressured to take good photos, and when you're online and you look on magazines, you see these people with like perfect bodies and like their flawless skin, and you want to be like them.
But enough about me and Ruth. What about other people?
Pardon?
What about other people? Who else are we talking about? The stars, the showbiz lifestyle, the culture that you've got.
I think like the clothing, the makeup. You feel like you have to copy everyone else because everyone else is doing it. You feel like you're pressured into doing the same things.
So essentially, when you put a picture out there, then you're going to get a lot of negative criticism. People saying, you know, look at you, or who do you think you are? Or...
Yeah, some people like then take it to the extreme. You think, oh, I'm going to try my hardest to be like what they want me to be, but then they don't want you to be that. Instead, you're fake, you're ugly, and things like that.
So how bad did it get for you, Hannah? Because you said you were bullied. But I mean, I've got to say, beautiful red hair. My mum's a redhead. I love red hair. But this was a problem for you when you were younger.
Yeah, I got bullied in primary school and in my last high school, and everyone made comments about my hair. Because I was pale, and it got to the point where I was crying my eyes out at home to my mum, saying I wanted to diet because I ended up like hating how I looked, and I just wanted to change it.
And so you're looking at what the popular people that you think they are.
I became obsessed with like looking through their Instagrams and seeing what apps they're using to filter their photos, and I used to think that they were so perfect, and I wanted to be that perfect.
So we can see here, heavily filtered, you've got apps on your pictures here. So although this person in these pictures is gorgeous, that person is not you, who's also gorgeous, but in a different way. But it doesn't look like you, really, does it?
Yeah.
Did you have a moment then when you thought, what am I doing? This has become like an addiction now.
Yeah, it really did concern me after a while, because my mum used to say, like, stop filtering your photos, you don't need it. And she'd take natural photos of me. And I started to, like, realise that sometimes it is better, like, not to filter them.
You're nodding there, Chili. Is that...
Yeah,
did you have that moment when you thought this is not real?
When like younger people start commenting on your photos, saying like, "Oh, you look really pretty," but then you realise you've used so many filters and apps to get that perfect, and they're trying to aspire to be someone that even I'm not.
I've got news for you. It's not just young people that suffer from this, and we're going to bring in Grace here. I'm not saying Grace is not young, but she's older than you guys. And Grace is very interesting because Grace is one of the founders of what is termed the self-esteem team.
Yeah.
And I know you've talked to government and you advise on various things, and you go around schools and you lecture on this and whatever it is. How bad is the problem and what is the solution?
The problem's pretty bad, I think. I enter many classrooms every week and talk to teens about various issues, this included. Lately, I've been asking people how many photos they take before the one they put online. And what always surprises me is that that number sits at around 20 on average.
And you're nodding, so you take 20 pictures before you chose one you liked.
But what surprises me the most is that most people in that classroom think that it's only them that takes 20 pictures before they put one online. So we're all doing the same thing, but we think that everybody else has taken one photo and it's turned out perfect. And I think we need to open up the conversation, because as soon as I do that in a classroom, every person in the room understands that they're not the only one that's taking 20 pictures.
And is this equal between boys and girls? Are boys doing the same thing?
Absolutely. So I think it's about being more honest about what our lives actually look like. It's about knowing that if we're honest like that, we're not going to be the only one. This is happening across the board. And once we start doing that, we can start to spread that out to different areas.
To that end, tell us about the Diana Awards scheme and this hashtag #MyTrueSelfie, is it?
Yeah. So today they brought out their app, My True Selfie, and I think a lot with selfies, where they're so edited, you don't really know the real person, you don't know the personalities, their hobbies. So this app is looking at trying to find your real person, so you can put words and things over your selfie so people know the real you. You might like gaming, or you might be a really caring person and you want to show people that.
It's not just about what you look like, it's more about who you are, which is really important, and that's the message we're trying to get across.
And it's an important message, isn't it? Because everything otherwise is just about what people see as perfection.
Yeah.
You know, we're all having fun, we all look gorgeous, we've all got lovely hair, we're all tanned.
And we've been sold this concept for a long time. It's not just social media that this happens within. We've been sold this idea that if we're beautiful or successful, then we're valued. And actually, we value people for other reasons.
Well, I'm going to go round you all, and we're going to do hashtag, and we're going to put words that we would put over our selfie, right? So what would you do first of all?
Creative.
Creative.
Thoughtful. Supportive.
Bossy.
Great friend.
Bossy.
Great friend.
Bossy. What? Hashtag what? Hunky. I mean,
I'd buy that.
Hashtag kind.
Hashtag kind, something like that.
Kind.
If I can just say, one of the reasons that I've wrote a book called Strip Bare, and I started going out as an inspirational speaker in 2013, and I write verse and blogs for charities and causes. The main reason for that is to help others, to inspire, to give hope, and to raise awareness. My addiction actually was part of, if I say 30 years, I battled with mental health issues, and that was severe depression, which started after I left school, basically, and also anxiety. And the shopping addiction became part of that. It was embroiled with it, and it was literally triggered by low self-esteem and a lack of love for myself. I think that's what I can openly say to people.
And then you thought that then buying nice clothes
made me feel good.
Made you feel good.
It's like an addiction, I would say, is a habit that spirals totally out of control. So, say if you talk about drinking, we all like a drink. Well, most people like a drink at the end of a busy week, so a glass of wine. But if you woke up in the morning and it's the first thing on your mind and you want a glass of wine rather than a cup of tea, then you've probably got a problem. And that's how my what's probably a nice habit, a nice leisure time for most people, mine became an addiction. So I'd actually go into a shop and I'd get this high, so the adrenaline, and it was literally looking in the mirror, trying the clothes on, and then I would probably feel, particularly towards the end, feel physically sick at the money that I'd spent.
Well, I think a lot of people will identify with that in some way, to some degree. The addiction had to be paid for. When did you start getting into trouble, realising that you hadn't got the funds?
Because you had a good job.
I had a good job, and yes, a good job, and I actually was really good at the job as well. But I don't think I ever really believed And, you know, I go into this in more detail in the book, but I don't think I ever really believed that I was good enough. So, but I do think no matter how much I would have achieved, what I wore, what I bought, I would have never felt good enough because I didn't feel good enough inside.
I want to nail something here. I want to get to the core, the crux of something here. Whether it's you, whether it's people in abusive relationships, whether it's people who self-harm, I could go on to almost any condition that we talk about in this programme, and people say, it's because I had low self-esteem. Right, how do we nail this? How do we wind everything back for everybody? What have we got to do as a society without telling everybody, you're wonderful, you're marvellous, you're fantastic every day? What is the core of building people's self-esteem?
Well, I would say, in the book, what I say is we're surrounded by media, magazines, you know, television. I'm sorry, but a lot of it is advertising what people probably think they should look like or they should be.
Perfect life. The
perfect life. When, in reality, that's not life anyway, you know. But so people, you know, young ones in particular, it's quite frightening to see how young ones, you know, when you see them on Instagram, trying to look absolutely perfect with the...
So we said you were holding down a very good job, you had your own house. So when did it become such a problem you had to give up your house? Did you lose your job?
It became a problem when I lost absolutely everything. In 2008, I sold up. I sold my house because I had my own house, and I moved into rented accommodation.
And was that to clear your debt?
And that was to consolidate. I realised then I had a massive problem and I had to sort it out. Unfortunately for myself, I went 2 years and I was managing to, you know, survive. I could have gone bankrupt, but I chose not to because I wanted to actually, I felt I should pay.
Face up.
I face up
so
to
this
it.
is this individual voluntary arrangement where you have to pay your
But I wouldn't advise anybody to do that now because there are so many charities out there that would do it.
How come, what's the trick? Or how come now when you see something in a shop, when you see something online, when you see a shopping channel, that you don't reach for your credit card? What prevents you?
Well, because, as I say, for 2 years I cut up the credit cards and I was on an IVA. And then I was made redundant. And so the sad thing for me there was that was in 2010. I actually then... I survived for about a year because I was still covering it up. I was ashamed.
You hadn't told your family or anybody?
And it was easy for me to cover up because I'm so outgoing. I mean, you see...
And you're not married, so...
And I'm not married, so I lived on my own, so I covered it up, and it was easy to do that. I'm very good at covering things up.
You eventually told your mum. Why did you tell your mum?
Because the night before, I actually tried to commit suicide. It got that bad. It was 2011, the night before Prince William married Kate, and it was a bank holiday the next day, and it actually, when I talk about it, it's still quite raw for me, even though it's that long ago.
What was your mum's reaction? Because she didn't know.
She was absolutely wonderful about it. She was so understanding, and you know, she's been my brick ever since, really. In fact, we've become, how can I put it, we're best friends.
Well, I thought you were sisters. So
I think she actually loved that one.
I thought, who was the mother, who was the daughter here? Right. So, for anybody who's going through this, that feels the temptation, no matter to what degree, what would you say to them? And they think, well, I've already spent too much, it's too late. Is it ever too late?
No, it's not too late. You need to face up to it. I was getting... this doesn't happen so much now because it's more... I think it's more controlled. But I was getting phone calls, constant, 24/7 phone calls, constantly. And I couldn't sleep.
People you owed money to.
Yeah, I couldn't sleep. They handed it over to debt collectors and, you know, there wasn't the pleasantest of people on the phone.
We're joined now by Paloma's twin brother, Gabriel Shemirani, and investigative journalist, Mariana Spring. Good morning to you both. Good morning. Can I first of all talk to you, Gabriel, about growing up and were conspiracy theories like a part of your childhood? Were they talked about quite a lot in your house?
Yeah, so for as long as I can remember, conspiracy theories were part of our growing up. And as a young child, you don't really think about it too much. Like if your mum and dad are saying 9/11 was an inside job or 7/7 was an inside job, you're an 8-year-old, so it doesn't really concern you. So it only gets to when you're about 10, 11, 12 that it starts sort of shaping your worldview and your approach to politics. So, you know, we say in the documentary that me and my brother, up until the age of 13, believed that the royal family was shape-shifting lizards. So it's stuff like that where it's very extreme, but it breeds into your life. And even some of the more conspiracy theories where they're not as extreme, but they're still obviously wrong. So like the 9/11 was an inside job, kind of things. Or especially with my mum, around the age of 12, it became the medical establishment is out to kill you. They're seeking to kill you. You can't touch them. You can't have vaccines. All vaccines are dangerous. Every vaccine is going to kill you. She really forced the idea of, for example, like the MMR vaccine causing autism. And yeah, so yeah.
It was. I think she got cancer herself, didn't she? Your mum in 2012.
So my mum got cancer in 2012, and she had conventional diagnosis, conventional surgery, and the surgery essentially was what cured her. I think I read some statistic with her cancer and with a double mastectomy that she had like a 78% chance of survival anyway. So after the mastectomy.
So she had the conventional treatment that actually saved her life.
Exactly.
And cured or got rid of the cancer.
Yes.
And yet, post that experience, her interest in the medical misinformation and the medical conspiracies, that sort of accelerated.
Yeah, so completely. So I think if you're familiar with Mel Gibson or Jess Ainscough in Apple Cider Vinegar, I think my mum saw this as her opportunity to mould herself as one of these wellness influencers. So she did the Gerson therapy after her cancer had been removed. And I think part of it, she believes some of it because she's a very distrusting, paranoid person. But I think she also was using it as an opportunity. So it comes, she does it, and it comes to around 2016, 2017, and she starts trying to build an online following, talking at, other alternative health seminars. But it wasn't until COVID that she really realised that this is my chance. This is this mainstreaming of anti-science narratives and this general public fear about health. And, as with a lot of things, she was able to take advantage of that fear to place herself in the middle. And that's kind of what skyrocketed her presence in the alternative wellness sphere.
Right. And then your sister, Paloma, was diagnosed with cancer.
Yes. So my mum and sister, as we all did, had like a very, very difficult relationship with my mother. So my sister started getting pains in her chest and her back around October 2023.
Yeah.
And she was estranged from my mum at this point. So again, my sister had the conventional diagnosis, got a biopsy, was engaging with doctors, had scans. And unfortunately, on the 22nd of December, she got told in hospital that she had non-Hodgkin lymphoma, which for a girl of her age, with her prognosis, very high survival rate.
Like 80%, right?
Exactly. So, I remember thinking, she'll do chemotherapy and she'll be fine. And she was engaging with the doctors and she was actively weighing up her options. But it was when she told my mum I've got cancer, that's when the control and the coercion started. And before I knew it, my sister had gone from not speaking to my mum to now she's removed from the hospital. Doctors are stopped from contacting her and she's, been coerced into doing this alternative therapy that my mum was advocating.
So she was given no conventional medical help whatsoever because she chose not to?
Not at all. My mum, no conventional medical help because my mum pressured her into not doing my mother and father pressured her into not doing chemotherapy. Either it was some of their associates feeding my sister misinformation regarding chemotherapy, saying it will kill you, or the survival rate isn't true, it's false, or they were saying our treatment's going to leave you fertile and it's a 100% chance of survival. So it was kind of from sort of both aspects of the coercion, but also just feeding her outright lies, outright falsities.
Gabriel, this is your twin sister. That must have been, for you and your brother, this must have been terrifying to think and to see her getting more and more ill when there is an opportunity for her to have been treated conventionally that could well have saved her life.
Well, so when I heard, I actually heard on Christmas Eve through my sister's boyfriend that she'd been discharged from the hospital and she was going to not do conventional treatment. I remember at that moment thinking, oh God, my sister's going to die if I don't do something as soon as possible. I know my brother had a similar feeling as well. And the most difficult part of it is, obviously, as me and my brother made our disagreement with our mum's treatment plan for us, it's very apparent. My mum actually stopped me from seeing my sister for the final 7 months of her life. So the last time I actually saw her was when I tried to visit on early morning Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to see her until she died.
And Gabriel, how do you feel about your mum now in respect to your sister Paloma?
I mean, it's my opinion that she sacrificed my sister on the altar of her ideology for her own, for her own benefit, for her own public exposure. I've no feelings towards her. I think she should face justice, and I'm determined for her to face justice. Do I have any love? Is there any love lost between me and my mum? No, not at all.
Mariana, it's a heartbreaking story, and an investigation that you have looked into. It must have been extraordinary to uncover what is going on with all this medical misinformation.
Yeah, when Gabriel and Sebastian first contacted me, I interviewed Sebastian actually about his mum during the pandemic and his concerns about medical misinformation she was sharing and the impact it could have on the public. And then when I heard about what had happened to Paloma, obviously it's just incredibly sad for all of you and for everyone who loved and cared about her. And I think that, we tried to speak to Kate Shemirani and also to your dad, Faramaz Shemirani, her ex-husband. They didn't get back to us, but they've continued to promote a range of unproven theories about what happened to your sister, including suggesting that she was somehow harmed by medical staff and that there's been a cover-up taking place. I wrote to them with lots of allegations, and they came back to say that they believed Paloma had died from medical interventions given without lawful consent or without kind of proper diagnosis. I've not seen any evidence to support those ideas. And I think speaking to, you and your brother, Gabriel, and then also some of Paloma's best friends, the people who cared about her, you guys had a really unusual childhood, perhaps is the right way of putting it, and you grew up surrounded by conspiracy theory beliefs. And so to some extent, it makes sense that there were some of those beliefs that Paloma or you guys at various points took on. But it did seem like the evidence suggests Paloma was moving away from those thoughts. And while this might seem like an extraordinary family story, which it is, it also actually does reflect this wider context in which this is happening. I mean, off the back of the investigation, I've had so many messages from patients, doctors, medical staff, talking about the impact of these kinds of conspiracy theory tactics that can be used, particularly when someone is understandably really worried. They've just been diagnosed with cancer.
Vulnerable, Yes, they are.
And, the tactics that your sister experienced were things that seemed to be unfolding at home for her, whereas a lot of people are getting this on, or at least it started there, a lot of people are getting this on their social media feeds.
Yes.
It's being recommended to them by the algorithms, the systems. I ran these dummy accounts as part of the investigation just to see what people can be pushed. Typing in cancer treatments, there was a whole range of stuff that just wasn't true. And that was, conspiracy theories about doctors, unproven remedies, getting millions of views. And then you've got senior doctors who I spoke to as part of the investigation who say that they're kind of increasingly dealing with this visibility of the health misinformation, this mainstreaming of it. And by misinformation, we don't mean, genuine questions and concerns or real examples of medical malpractice. And also, there can be good things about doing complementary therapies along with treatment.
At the same time.
Exactly, but, and being healthy, that is a good thing. But this is about people rejecting kind of all forms of conventional medicine like chemotherapy and choosing those alternative therapies, believing that they could be curative.
Proven. Yeah.
Exactly.
We did reach out to Paloma's mum and dad, to your parents as well. Neither responded directly to the allegations, but your mother has made unfounded allegations against the hospital and its staff. We've seen no evidence to substantiate these claims. The inquest is due to begin next month to establish circumstances surrounding Paloma's death. What are you hoping we get from the inquest?
I'm hoping they establish the facts and they find the information that, my sister died as a result of the rejection of treatment, and as a result that the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma went untreated. And for me, I want obviously a definitive cause of death needs to be established first before we can start talking about medical negligence and getting justice for my sister and a possible criminal case. It's definitely something I'm discussing with my lawyers. But I think for me, kind of even in a broader sense, is I think when you have a family member that dies, the worst thing is that you worry that they're going to be one in a long line of people that die this way, because they're so special to you that you want everything about them to remain unique. And I didn't have the time to I couldn't save my sister in time, but I feel there's still enough time to save so many other people. And as Mariana said, so many people have got in contact since the documentary went out. I find there's a real pattern of a lot of young women, especially, are susceptible to this kind of stuff, because the alternative health industry sort of leverages these worries that women have about fertility, about femininity, about detoxing yourself, about cleansing yourself. And, you know, obviously a lot of women have issues with eating, and they leverage this, and they coerce women into doing these kind of treatments and rejecting treatments like chemotherapy, which, does impact your fertility and doesn't impact your, how you look. So I think for me what's important is, A, preventing and educating people so they don't fall into that trap. But then also, seeing if we can get the law changed to acknowledge medical coercion better, or
protect people better, essentially.
Or with the online bill that's going through.
Online safety bill.
Exactly, with more, right now legal but harmful is still allowed, and I don't think that should be the case, because. I think that's
about content on social media. And I think it's worth saying, like, the courage it takes for Gabriel and Sebastian to kind of speak up about something that is so deeply personal but clearly has impacted so many people, I think is really remarkable. Like, as a journalist who investigates this stuff, I've found it remarkable, and I'm sure that lots of people listening
The documentary is available to watch still on iPlayer, and it's well worth seeing. Mariana, thank you for coming in. Gabriel, thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
Really difficult to know when it started, but you were always sensitive and shy when you were at school.
Yeah.
And so you got to secondary school, and as about 11, that might have been the trigger.
I think that was definitely the trigger. It's sort of the change in environment of kind of being expected to act in a certain way that was deemed normal.
And the thing was, I mean, this has had such an effect. It wasn't just at school, because then you'd come home and you talk about this cycle of worry that you got yourself into. And I can't bear, I mean, you poor child, sort of worrying about it all night, sitting there thinking about what you've done that day, what you were going to do tomorrow, not sleeping properly, getting up in the morning, and the process starts again.
Yeah, and to me that seemed normal. I just was so worried that somebody might draw attention to me in class, or that I might make a fool of myself in some way.
The horror of being asked to speak out loud.
Yes, read your work in front of the class, which, a lot of teachers think, will do that, but for me, it was my worst nightmare, so I would go home, go to sleep.
And then at uni, it got worse and worse. You actually found a new tool in the arsenal. Alcohol helped to
booze, definitely.
Yeah,
that was
sort of rub out the edges, the sharp edges of it. But you knew that was no way to go.
No, deep down, I knew this is definitely only a temporary fix. I'm going to have to deal with it eventually.
Well, you moved to London and you got your dream job working in publishing. On the outside, as I said, this was a dream, but internally, living a nightmare, really, for you. How did you cope in the workplace?
Well, my approach to my anxiety, which is the worst thing, I would never recommend this, was just to ignore it. I thought, I cannot tell anybody about this because I will be outcast. Everybody will think I'm a freak, because I thought I was a freak. So I just ignored it. Just ploughed on ahead like, no, you'll be fine, you'll be fine, you'll be fine.
And of course that catches up with you, and
it
did. And you were asked to interview for a promotion at work, and this was the moment where you just snapped.
Yeah, I had what I now know was a panic attack, but I'd never had one before, so I thought I was dying. I genuinely, the heart was going, I couldn't breathe, I felt like my limbs were going numb. So I laugh about it now because I have to, but I actually stood up and bolted out of the room and ran out, literally ran all the way down the street, and that was the kind of, you kind of have to do something about this now.
Well, you obviously you've got Dan, who you say is your rock. He's the guy you wouldn't be able to get through this without his support. But meeting him first of all, when you sit down and talk to him, your hands were shaking.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you can see that. It's something I always have. It's better today, but it used to be much worse.
Yeah.
But
did you tell him straight away as soon as because you met him through a dating site, I think, didn't you?
Yes, that's right.
Mate said you've got to get out there, and that's one of those things that, it's a tricky hurdle to get over. By the way, I really like you, and I suffer from severe anxiety. It's going out is going to be tough.
Yeah. I kind of didn't call it social anxiety at first. I just have this thing. I just have this little weird thing that flares up now and again, but.
Because at this point you're still trying to keep it all under wraps and keep it to yourself. So after your first panic attack, you went home to Bolton and you went to see your GP, and very quickly and very simply you got a diagnosis, which was a huge relief to you.
Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I burst into tears of relief, because it had a name, if that makes sense. I was like, I thought this was just this freakish thing that only I had. And she was like, no, this is a very common condition. How long have you had it for? I was just like 10, 20 years.
All my life, pretty much.
Yeah.
What was the treatment?
It was medication. I don't produce enough serotonin in my brain, so I take medication to help with that. And I had CBT therapy, which...
Cognitive behavioural therapy.
Yes. So it's, I didn't realise that I had to accept, I didn't have to accept those thoughts in my head. They weren't the truth, it was just lying to me.
Yeah.
So to talk to a therapist who taught me how to challenge them.
But also exposure therapy as well.
Yeah, exposure therapy is slightly more aggressive, but it's really, really helped me. It's kind of exposing yourself to situations that make you uncomfortable, to provoke an attack, feel it and think, you might feel nervous, you might feel horrendous, but nothing bad will happen. It can't hurt you. It's just a trick.
Well, imagine sitting here on this sofa right now, quite a big one for you. I mean, there must have been a point in your life where you would never have even considered doing something like this. So how's this feeling right now?
I can't really describe how it's feeling. It's like, I'm speechless. When I was at my worst and I didn't think I'd ever be able to leave the house again.
Yeah.
So to be here now is incredible.
And then on the 28th of May, you got married.
Yes.
You married Dan, and then there is no day like a wedding day to make one person the centre of attention.
Yes. yeah, that was... it was so important to me that I didn't want to endure my wedding day. I wanted to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I thought, the walking down the aisle, that's going to be the problem. So I practiced. I did a bit of exposure therapy with my dad. We walked down the aisle together and practiced it.
Yeah. And
on the morning, we did... with my best friends, my bridesmaids, we were doing playing games, distraction techniques.
And the reason you're talking today, and your book, which we mentioned at the beginning, this is all to help. There are 8.2 million people in the UK suffering from anxiety. And so if you can help just a few of those, that's why you're talking.
I just don't want anybody else to have to go through what I did for so long, because when I was recovering, so much of the stuff out there had a lot of medical jargon. That's like, I don't understand that. What does that mean? Like things like serotonin or cortisol. And so I thought, I'm going to start writing it that a normal person can understand.
Yeah. So, well done you. Makes perfect sense. If you enjoyed that, there's more of the same right here. And make sure you subscribe so that you never miss the best moments from this morning.
He loves his modelling, thoroughly enjoys taking part. And so the modelling days, how do they work? Obviously, you will probably go along as chaperones. How would you work those days? How much do you see?
Liam is part of a modelling agency in Sweden. So H&M is a client to the modelling agency. And the modelling agency is responsible for Liam's photo shoots. And we are always there, either Frank or I, for the photo shoots, and it's no different from that day, whether we remember it or not, but it was no different photo shoot from any other day.
So on that day, so this is the H&M's shoot in question, did you see him put the hoodie on? Was it discussed in any way?
As I would say, not. I've taken him for a couple of appointments when the mother cannot do it. But if I would say, some of what I do with him at the studio, you can never remember when you're not trying to spot something. I get to see and say, oh, wow, when I get to see them back when they come on the internet pages, and I say, when did we do this, Liam?
And remember, there is professional people who are responsible for his styling and his photo shoot. So as a mom, you're just there because he's as a mom or a dad, you're just there because he's a minor, and you have to take them through the process, because they cannot take themselves there, or they cannot be there by themselves. So there is professional people who are styling Liam, and until the controversy came out, we did not know that there was such a T-shirt. Either of us can remember who was at the photo shoot at a particular day until the thing came out, that's when we realised, oh, we have an issue at hand.
So, had you been in eyesight, because you know how these photo shoots work, they change the top, take the shot, change it again, loads of different shots all in one day. If you'd seen that hoodie with that slogan, would it have rung alarm bells?
Not for me. I wouldn't see such a connection to anything other than my son modeling a shirt. And until the controversy now, with the whole furore that is going on, then you kind of look back and wonder if you had noticed it, what would be our initial or my initial response to it.
Do you think it was an overreaction, the response that picture got?
It is not an overreaction when it comes to racism. Everybody should act differently based on their own opinions on what racism is. I know what racism is. I've been at the front. I have had racist remarks directed to me firsthand. Even with the name monkey, I've been called a monkey before on a cruise ship, and my reaction was the same as the world is reacting to me right now. But to put the T-shirt and the word monkey with racism, maybe that is not my way of looking at it. I'm just looking at Liam, a black young boy, modeling a T-shirt that has the word monkey on it. And I think everybody should respect different opinions based on racism.
And I mean, this has really affected the family because you've had to move out of the family home. The comments you've had, I mean, it has gone global. So you are really feeling this as a family right now.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. I can't say we are having our normal family life as we've always wanted it to be, and despite. As much as people have gotten involved in this, it's important, and for me it's very important that people should understand that me and Teresa, we have a son, we have other children in the home that we are raising, and we have an obligation to kind of protect our children.
Is he aware of what's happening?
Not really, he's not.
Not in the bigger picture. He's aware he's a superstar and that people love him, and he's seen the pictures, he's seen images online. He thinks, or he believes that people love him for his modeling job and that he's cool and his confidence in his job. So
well, I know that
that is basically.
He's there actually. We'll get him into the room now, and we haven't put an earpiece on him this morning, so he's unaware of this line of questioning. But let's get him in and talk positively to him. And so because he doesn't have an earpiece, if you relay the questions to him, and we'll get him into the studio. Could you ask him when he comes and oh, there he is. When he comes and sits down about his modelling, how much does he love it? What does he like about it?
What do you like about modelling? Can you say to the camera what you like about modelling, doing the photo shoots?
I do.
What do you like about it?
The pictures that you take and everything. How much do you like it?
He's very shy. He's gone shy.
Because you're what?
Because I'm nice and a model.
Yeah, you're nice and you're a model.
Well, he is absolutely gorgeous. He really is.
Well, he's a little star, that's for sure. Tell him from us that we think his shoots are fantastic. He looks great. Have you spoken to him?
I've not been allowed to speak to him yet at all.
At all? Not
at all, no.
There is a lot of talk about his mental health here, and you say that he... And so we'll get to what he's accused of in just a moment, but the process that led up to that, He's had problems from puberty, you say?
From 2 years old, I noticed that there were differences, but they were relatively sort of on a back burner. But once he sort of hit puberty and started at secondary school, everything just went spiralling out of control for him. He was bullied a lot at school. He played truant a lot at school because people were noticing he was very different, and he just, you know, couldn't
Different
cope.
in what way?
Just behavioural issues. Because he has a form of autism, you know, it does make them very different, and obviously people were then sort of picking up on that more, which they hadn't done at primary school.
And he also had OCD, he had an eating disorder, and at one point in his teenage years, he was sectioned. And
That's
for
right.
you as his mother, this is heartbreaking to watch your child going through something like this.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd fought long and hard from 11 till 14 to get some care for him. And when we were able to access it, we were told basically it was too late because he'd been left so long. His behaviours were so ingrained and his eating had gone downhill to such a point that there was no other option.
Too late. That's extraordinary.
Well, one GP had even said to me, well, he's not going to starve himself to death, is he? But that is essentially what happened. You know, he had to be hospitalised.
So, obviously, when the discussion, and I don't know how it was within the family, of him going to America arose for the first time, what did you say?
It was horrific. We were just completely shocked. It was a bolt out the blue. He'd never wanted to go anywhere.
Did he say why he wanted to go to America?
No, not at first. We just assumed because he was sort of 18, a lot of his friends were going to university or travelling, that was just sort of his attempt at trying to have a normal life.
And you didn't want him to go? You were worried about him?
No, very much. Our GP was very worried. I went to police and mental health services. They were all very concerned, but because he was an adult, there was literally nothing they could do, you know, unless he was mentally incompetent, which he's not. He's very intelligent.
So off he goes, he travels to America, and your communication with him was erratic. I mean, you sort of bits, dribs and jabs, but really you lost him. You didn't know where he was.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the first sort of point that there was a problem was he'd promised to come back 6 weeks later for his little sister's birthday, and he idolised his little sister, and then he just suddenly rang and said he couldn't come. And he couldn't really say why, and it's been like that ever since. We've been begging him to come back. He's always had a flight on offer, and he just says, I can't.
So, he's in America for 18 months, and then you get a call from the Foreign Office.
Yeah.
And it wakes you up.
Mm-hmm.
And what did they say?
They said we found him because I had reported it to the police, our concerns, and they had been trying to track him down for some time. So at first I was delighted that they'd tracked him down, and I asked where, and obviously it was completely the other side of America from where I'd known him to be. And then they said he was arrested, so I asked what for, and then literally my world just crumbled. You know, I just couldn't believe it. It's a complete and utter change of character. The Michael that I grew up with, right till the point he left, he was kind, compassionate, caring, sensitive. He was always writing me little sort of soppy love you mum cards. I mean, what 18-year-old boy does that? He would hold doors open for you. You know, it's just a complete and utter change of character.
And what about, I mean, was he politically motivated?
He had never mentioned politics to me or his father in his entire life, or to anyone as far as I know.
And so this came as a complete shock to you. He'd been living in a car.
Well, we didn't even know that. I mean, that's it. We didn't know anything. He wouldn't tell us anything. And it was our fear all the way along that somebody had brainwashed him or manipulated him in some way.
Because he was so vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think that his care is likely to be in America? Because obviously he has mental health issues here.
I mean, the authorities over there weren't aware of any issues. I've only spoken to one person from the US authorities, and he had no idea of anything to do with Michael whatsoever. So obviously now I'm just trying to make everyone aware of the issues.
Public defender said he appeared to be competent and hadn't been diagnosed with a mental illness.
That's completely
and that's
untrue.
his public defender?
Yeah. I had a long phone call with her last night. She's now in possession of all the documents. And yes, he's got a long history of problems, you know, diagnosis and issues. So clearly something has gone very, very wrong in this last year, and we need to get to the bottom of it.
And what you do know is that he's being held in isolation.
That's right, yeah.
22 hours a day, no windows, no communication with anybody.
No, which is not good for anybody's mental health, is it?
No, absolutely not. And his father has been out to see him.
Yes.
How much contact did he manage to have?
He was allowed a 1-hour chat via video link, which is why, you know, we desperately want Michael brought back to the UK because we need to see him. You know, at least over here they're humane enough to allow you face-to-face prison visits.
The trouble is that you're fighting the massive American system here. Here's a young man who has obvious mental health issues who appeared to be attempting to assassinate a presidential candidate. They won't look kindly on him, will they?
No, I understand that, but I mean, we need to look a lot deeper to find out where these ideas have come from, what's caused, you know, such an affable, gentle, kind lad to turn into something completely different.
When are you hoping to talk to him?
I've no idea. No, I've no idea.
And are the Foreign Office attempting to try and get you into contact with him?
Not to my knowledge, no. I've only had the one phone call from them, which was when they woke me up that night to tell me he'd been arrested.
The Foreign Office say that we've offered advice and information to the family in this case and will continue to do so. We remain in contact with Mr. Sanford's legal representatives and have submitted a request to visit him. I can't imagine, you know, this is so horrible for you.
Yeah, it's devastating.
But hopefully you'll get some sort of resolution and
thank you.
And hopefully you'll
I'm trying to do everything I can for him this end, as I'm not able to fly out at the moment.
Yeah.
I've contacted sort of various organisations and just trying to reach out to anyone who can help, basically.
Okay. Well, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
For more of the same, just click here, and don't forget you can subscribe for even more of these amazing videos exclusive to our channel.
I was driving to therapy and I got caught in a bit of traffic. I was looking for any excuse not to go, so I just turned the car back around. And I was really pleased with Mandy because a lot of people had gone, oh, she just don't want to turn up. But what it was so raw going through the therapy experience that actually all the things you've buried over the years, you are now digging back up.
They're saying the hair is out of order. You're saying the hair is part of your religious and cultural beliefs. So explain more about that to us.
Basically, you know, where we come from, we as a people need to identify that. Now, for us as a family, I can only speak for my family. For us as a family, we are Hebrewites. It also goes in the category of Rastafaris.
Yes.
But the thing about it, people have a stigma about Rastas. Rastas, in people's eyes, is that they stay home, smoke weed, and, you know, the normal thing. But in my household, we don't touch the stuff.
Yes.
Is Rastafarian a religion or a culture?
It is both. It is both. You can put it in a religion form, because if you read the Bible, it also says that when the Lord came, his hair was like wool. It clearly says it in the Bible. In a culture where I come from, kids, this is how they wear their hair.
So, Mum, you will say, you know, I think the fear would be this is a fashion trend. And your point is absolutely not.
It's not a fashion trend.
So here's the problem. I think, you know, the school have their policy, and you can argue it one way or the other with you, but you can also argue surely the school, before they took Chickasee on board, they should have understood the child that they were accepting into the school, surely.
Or told you that their hair wasn't acceptable.
Yes.
Did you have any kind of conversation with them?
Not about my son's hair, because as far as I was concerned, it was not an issue. As far as, in my opinion, it was not an issue. I went to several occasions to different meetings in the school. Everything they send us to go to, I will go. I bring my son with me. I had a meeting, not a meeting as such, a conversation with the headmaster. He shook my hand, he shook Chickasee's hand, he said, welcome to Fulham Boys School. He said, it'll be a pleasure.
Okay. So you say you had read the school rule book, and there was nothing in there. There were mention of they couldn't have hair beyond their collar, but Chickasee ties his hair up.
That's exactly.
So Chickasee, tell us your first day. This is Fulham Boys School in London. What happened on your first day then? Who first mentioned to you that your hair was not acceptable?
I was in class, and then my head of house came in, and then she asked me if I can come out of class for a second, and then she told me that by Monday my hair has to be cut.
So what did you feel at that point? What did you think about what she was saying to you?
Well, I was upset and I was a bit worried because I really wanted to go to that school.
So you love the school, you're a good student, you want to be at school. So when you came home...
Except you're now being treated differently, aren't you? You're being isolated, or what way are they treating you within school? Because they see every day you come in, looking the way you do, they see it as defiance and disobedience. So you're being punished for that, are you? What way are you being punished?
Well, on Monday, and they took me out of class, and then they brought me into isolation.
When you say isolation, what do you mean? Where did they put you?
They brought me into the head of house office, and then they made us.
OK, let me just explain the school's point of view on this one for people. The headmaster, Alan Ebenezer, says we're a strict academic boys' school with a very distinct ethos. We have a very strict uniform and appearance policy, which includes hair. Hair cannot be shorter than a number 2, longer than your collar, and must be one natural colour, no braids, no dreadlocks and no cult hairstyles. We are treating this as a cultural issue at the moment and are surprised that the parents have not discussed this with us sooner and left it to the start of term. So I hear what Mr Ebenezer is saying, but you're saying you met him or you met officials of the school before Chickasee was appointed. So he knew, or he should have raised that point with you then. We put it to you, headmaster, that you should have raised that then.
But also, you're saying it doesn't. He's mentioning dreadlocks there, but actually, in the written rule book, it doesn't say the word dreadlocks at all.
At all, because that's the thing about me. I'm a strict mom. Okay,
yes.
So before even he went into the school, 2 things he did. He spent an entire day in the school. Nothing was mentioned to me. I sat down, downloaded it, the policy, read it through. I said, OK, fine. They said no twists.
How do you feel about him being isolated?
Yes, because it says, the headmaster goes on to say that anyone who refuses to follow school policy faces exclusion. Boys from all cultures and backgrounds are welcome and feel part of the school. And if you don't adhere to the policy, there is no point in having a policy. So this could result on him being booted out of the school.
Yes.
So have you taken this further than the headmaster?
Well, I've written the headmaster. I followed their procedure again. That's on the website. I've written to the headmaster, and he refused to write back to me.
So what happens now? I mean, I have to say that Chickasee doesn't have permission from the school to be out of school today. That's your choice to bring him out of school and bring him here. So what do you want to happen now? What do you think will happen now?
Well, at the end of the day, the main thing and the most important thing is my son's education. And for a headmaster to be sticking to this sort of policy, it is absolutely wrong.
But Tuesday, if the main thing is your son's education, you maybe could argue that then the hair has to go, the dreadlocks have to go.
No, it doesn't.
So then that's not the main thing, his education isn't the main thing.
Education is his main thing, because I had other kids and they all went to school and they all got education, very good education, and they're all in very good positions at the moment.
And they all had dreadlocks.
And they all had dreadlocks.
When the penny dropped and you looked at each other and said, not you as well, what was that conversation like, Chloe? What do you remember about that?
Well, I actually came out as gender fluid before I came out as transgender. And so I remember I went to my graduation and I had the hair and makeup. I had long extensions and a full face of makeup and just really neutral clothing. And Jamie turned to me in the kitchen that night and she was like, you just look so beautiful, you look like a beautiful woman, And she was like, do you think this could be, something that you want to change your gender? And I was like, to be honest, I'm not sure. And it took me a while after that to kind of really figure everything out in my head, because it's a big deal.
It's a very big deal.
Had you already made up your mind at this stage?
I had the conversation with my best friend, but I hadn't come out or anything. It was looking at Chloe, the way she was dressing, was more like, I could see she was being so free in herself. I wasn't like that at all. I was really scared to kind of all of a sudden start presenting as something else, you know? So I was looking up to Chloe, and that's why I asked Chloe, because I thought, if she is, we could go on this journey together, because I definitely knew I felt that way. It was just about telling people, I didn't tell people.
And when did they tell you?
September last year. I came back from Greece and Jamie FaceTimed me and said, I am transgender. So I wasn't surprised, but I suppose it means a change for her to, I suppose we use gender all the time without even realising it, her, him. And that so those pronouns needed to change. I didn't have an issue because I suppose really I gave birth to 2 beautiful babies, and they're still my children. So, you know, gender really isn't an issue for me, but I understand that.
But you've new children, in a way. Do you miss those old children, or have you yourself transformed into, you know, a different mum?
I've definitely, over the last few weeks, I would imagine, even have just come to terms and accepted that, yes, this is right for them. This is part of what they need to do.
And Mum has been incredibly supportive. How important has that been for you in this transition, this journey?
Well, I suppose it was never, like, I never felt like I had to keep any secrets, or I didn't want to say something in case I upset her, because I know that she wanted to know everything. She wanted to be there for me and she wanted to support me, so.
So where are we at as regards the transitioning? What stage are you at? Do you seek counselling first of all, or what happens?
Yeah, so you do like a psych evaluation and then you go on to do your hormone replacement therapy. And I'm kind of just after doing the psych evaluation, so I'm on my way to getting the hormones.
Are you scared by this or excited by this?
Excited. You're dragging around this body that you don't want to drag around, you know, and it gets really, really tiring and kind of depressing. And I think once we start the HRT, we'll start noticing the differences, and going through that female puberty is going to be really, really exciting.
Gosh, tell me more about the exciting bit, Jamie. The old Jamie and the new Jamie. I mean, obviously a dramatic difference in terms of looks.
Yeah.
Where do you go as your reference point? I mean, look at the trait change there. Look at the transformation there. Who do you base this new person on? Where do you get all your ideas from? Because this is a new learning curve for you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm the same person. Like, I'm just like wearing heels and have
style
hair.
and things. Where are you going for that? Your hair?
My hair, first of all, like that was a gift. We got a gift from the hair extensions by Kira Lambert. She's a celebrity hairstylist, and she heard about our story and she was like, you know, I'm going to do something for you. And that I was actually the first day that I started presenting as a female and fully presenting as a female. So that's really important to me that, you know, I have my long hair and stuff. And I don't know, I suppose Britney Spears is like, I'm a big fan of Britney Spears and I look up to her. So maybe that's where the blonde hair comes from.
And what about you? Was that a big change for you, the hair? Was that a big step forward?
Yeah, well, I'm training as a hairdresser, so it saved a lot of time clipping. Instead of clipping in the extensions every day, just having them there, so.
And what about partners? Are you looking for love, both of you?
I found love.
You found love?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I did. Like 2 months ago, we went to a transgender training facility. It was set up by the TENI group, which is Transgender Equality Network in Ireland. And didn't go there looking for love, went there looking to find out more about myself, but yeah. Harry walked in and
And you met Harry?
Harry.
Okay.
Mum, there's a lot of happiness here. You can see this. And, you know, you were just talking about how you have recently used the term accepted what's going on. Has that been difficult for you? Is that a reluctant acceptance? Or where are you at now? And where are the family at? Because you'll be as strong as, I suppose, the people who are around you as well.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I have a lot going on. My dad is deteriorating slowly, and so I've been very emotional around that anyway. So it's hard to kind of see, you know, how I actually feel. But it's it's not been a reluctant acceptance, no. I mean, they're my children. I love them to bits. I love them more than anything or anyone in the world, and that's
that must mean a lot to you too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You just want your children to be happy, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, which you are. Yeah.
Very loving family. Thank you very much indeed.
For more of the same, just click here, and don't forget you can subscribe for even more of these amazing videos exclusive to our channel.
Do you take losing well?
Well, as long as I've got better than I expected, yes.
Yeah.
So if your sister whoops you, you're going to be fine with that?
Then I will brutally murder her.
He's joking.
Really?
That's a joke.
My next guests have been celebrated in a hit show called Fleabag, which we all know about, have a superstar fan in Celine Dion, and are unsuspectingly achieving cult status, Joes.
Yeah, often mistaken for nothing more than a beginner's pet. We're joined now by 12 guinea pigs, starring in the new Netflix documentary, The Keeper lover of pigs, alongside their owner, Jamie Eglinton-Parks, who says that these furry little loves helped him through one of the most difficult times of his life. And Dr. Scott is also here with us with some unmissable advice. Jamie, Dr. Scott, welcome to this morning. Jamie, they're so cute. Can I just ask who we have here? Because you can see that they've got real little characters already.
They have. So this one's Aberdeen.
Aberdeen?
Everest.
Is he Scottish?
So the belted, the lady that created the breed is Scottish.
Okay.
So the belted all have Scottish names. Okay. It's generally just my show pigs that get names, but they've all got their own characters.
And what is it you love about them so much? Is it...
Well, I love watching them. I've actually loved watching them whilst you've been over there. I've sat there watching them, and it's just watching them interact and going off and getting their food and then running back to the house. And
they're really funny, aren't they?
It's really hypnotic, actually.
This one's got real little character, Craig.
Can people at home hear the sounds they're making? I wonder. If I lean over,
little noises, aren't
can you
they?
hear the sounds? There's this little. It's such a cute little. Yeah. It's like a squeal, isn't it, Jamie? Yeah. That's a content sound they're making, is it?
So that means they're happy. When you go into my garage and if you rustle a bag, they sing like birds. They're like, I've been on the phone to people before and they're like, have you got birds? Yeah. I'm like, no, I've got guinea pigs.
How many have you got?
I've got 80. Or about 80. When
80?
There's babies and the numbers go up and down, they fluctuate.
All in your garage?
Well, I built a garage specifically for them. So it's 16.5 squared and it is insulated, lined in plastic. It's got heating, hot and cold running water. When I bought my house, I wanted somewhere that actually I enjoyed going down to.
There's a whole subculture out there about guinea pigs. We saw it in the documentary. There are guinea pig shows. Yep. All the breeders get in touch with each other, but also there's a lot of guinea pig rescuers who are playing a very important role out there because they are overbred and not very responsibly as well by some people. Obviously, you guys are the responsible side of things here. Talk to us about that world.
So the rescues, there are so many in the rescues. As you saw in the documentary, Shaz, she's constantly got influxes of 50 and 80 and so many coming in, and sometimes they can be in such bad condition and they just don't have the funding. You'll see on the documentary, there's times where Shaz feels like she just needs to close down because she's just running so low on funds, and they're there to help and people need to support them.
And, I mean, support you do. I mean, you are a judge at, like, guinea pig shows across the country, aren't you? But they're not actually called guinea pigs. What's their real name, you know?
So they're called cavies.
Cavies?
Which is a technical name for them. Guinea pig is a nickname, and it will have come from the fact that they were probably a guinea when they came over, so it was...
Oh, guinea to buy them?
Yes.
OK, all right.
So it was a nickname, the guinea pig.
Oh. Yes, because they're actually from South America, really, rather than, New Guinea, for example.
Yeah.
Dr. Scott, just because they're small doesn't mean they don't need a lot of care, right?
Absolutely. In fact, I would say they're one of the most neglected pets that we have in the UK. Probably rabbits are number one, and then guinea pigs number two. It's just because kids have a short attention span, and although they are a wonderful starter pet in that they are pretty low maintenance, they're pretty healthy, they're sort of simple creatures to look after and care for. When children have short attention spans, they run out of interest and affection, and if the parents aren't stepping up, then they do sort of get left at the bottom of the garden. You can, of course, have them in enclosures that are quite small because they are a small animal, but I think that belies what they actually need. You can get nutrition really wrong. People will feed them a lot of pellets rather than the hay food that you can see here. And actually, they're an animal where their teeth constantly grow throughout their life. So if they're not eating almost like 20 hours a day, their teeth will overgrow, and it's almost like jail bars, and then they can starve to death. So it is an animal that needs to be so carefully looked after. And And I think and they live a lot longer than people think as well.
Oh,
This
how
one's
long
trying
do
to
they live
hide in
then?
here.
So they can live sort of 5 to 6 years. A lot of people go, oh, maybe they're like 1 to 2, like, say, a hamster, but actually they live a lot longer. And I think when you think about kids, Joe, Reg, like, when the kids are a certain age, they want a guinea pig. 5 years later, they might have got bored real quick. So you need to be the one looking after the guinea pig long after the child's given up their interest.
And just quickly, sorry, Craig, is it best to buy one on their own or a pair?
Always more than one. They like a community. They like chatting to each other. They are very sweet with one another. But the saying, bred like rabbits, they also breed like guinea pigs.
Yeah.
So you do need to make sure that you have them in same-sex couplings, or you can neuter them. So it's best to maybe neuter the male, and then you have them with females. Because I believe this guy's a boar, isn't he?
Yep, so 11 sows and 1 boar, but he's been neutered. He keeps them in check.
You can see how confident he is, actually, because the others are actually... This little albino one here is hiding behind the hay. Just very quickly, Jamie, before we let them go back home. I mean, they have helped you in your life. You've had a tough time, and they've brought calm to your life.
So they helped me through my divorce. They... I think for anyone, it's a time of upheaval and change, even if it's mutual. But having something to be able to concentrate on and put all your energy into. I spent a whole year, and I got 2 very good friends, and we went to shows all over the country, nearly every weekend. And it just gave me something to really focus on.
Jamie, thank you for bringing them
Jamie.
in. They're so lovely, and good luck in all your shows and your documentary. And thank you, Dr. Scott. It's really good advice. Thank you.
And thank you, gang.
Yeah, thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
so much, particularly you, big gang. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. Now, we upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.